Happy. I've started recording, so thank you. I'll pass the time off to our instructor.
Cool. Well, before Amy starts the class, I just wanted to introduce her and let you guys know what she's teaching today. So before I do that, it would be helpful to introduce myself. My name is Michelle, and I am the social media manager at Tombow USA. And Michaels and Tombow, we're so excited to have our brand ambassador, Amy Latta, teaching you how to create DIY back to school stickers. Like Kelly said, if you have any questions during the class, feel free to drop them in the chat bar and we'll all do our best to answer them. Amy, I'm going to hand it off to you.
Sounds great. Thank you so much, Kelly and Michelle. And thank you to Tombow and Michaels for coming together to have this class today. I am Amy Latta, and you can find me at Amy Latta Creations. And I am thrilled to be a Tombow brand ambassador. My main focus when I do DIY and crafting is that I love hand lettering. And I love everything that comes with that. There's all kinds of different fonts and writing styles involved in hand lettering, as well as things like embellishments and doodles, which are all things that we're going to be talking about today. So Tombow and Michaels asked me months ago to put together something for back to school. And at the time we were still in school and it felt like so far away, but here we are in July, and believe it or not, it's time to start thinking about that at this time. My kids are not too excited about that. We went in Walmart the other day and they saw all the glue sticks and the notebooks and they were like, no, but I was like, oh yes. So today we're going to be making a fun little back to school project that you can create using Tombow markers, some adhesive sticker paper, a pencil, and some scissors. And that's really all you need. I know a lot of folks I was chatting with were afraid that they needed a Cricut machine or something like that, but no, all you need are scissors, your markers, and your sticker paper, and we're going to be good to go. So thank you all so much for joining me today. I see folks, I see somebody close to me in Baltimore. I'm from Maryland. I see Pennsylvania, California, Texas. I even see India. So thank you all so much for tuning in. So we're going to get started today creating our back to school stickers. And this is something that creators of all ages and all skill levels can do. And we're just going to be doing some practice on some scrap paper. So if you want to grab some of that and have it handy as well, we're going to go ahead and dive in and get started. So I'm going to ask Kelly to switch to the overhead camera, which is going to give you a view of what we're creating and what I'm working on. So this is some examples of what we're going to be making today. As we walk through the different writing and lettering styles, you'll see I've written out some of the subjects like math, history, science. I've also come at it from a teacher's angle as well. So if you wanted to do excellent, great work, things that you could use to encourage students, whether that's your kids or your students in a classroom, you can do those as well. So when we're practicing the lettering, you don't have to make your stickers say the same things that I did. You can write any words that you like. You can use your kids' names. You can use the teachers' names. You can do subjects or anything at all. So feel free to make these stickers your own. And if your kids are joining in, they can do the same thing. So today, the first thing that we want to do is I want to talk about two different really fun lettering styles that we can use to create our stickers. And the first one that we're going to look at is actually a style of printing. And if you look at my fourth grade sticker here and my Mrs. and Mrs. Jones, you'll see that this print is just a little bit stylized. It looks a little bit different than regular printing. And I wanted to start with this because I know that kids are going to want to join in and make this as well. And this is something that everyone can do because you don't need to know cursive handwriting. So to do this, I'm going to be using a Tombow Dual Brush Pen. And these are my favorite lettering pens, these in the food in a suitcase. These come in 108 different colors. And under this end, we have a brush tip. But what we're going to be starting with is actually a bullet tip under the bottom. So it's a dual brush pen because it has two different tips. And we're going to be using the bullet tip, which is a nice fine kind of regular marker. And what we want to talk about is, first of all, when we print, believe it or not, each of these lines, if this looks familiar to you from back in elementary school, each of these lines not only has a purpose, it has a name. And don't worry, there won't be a quiz later, but I do want to tell you what they're for so that we can play with them to our advantage to create a really fun font. So this top line is what we call the cap height. And that top line tells us how tall our capital letters are going to be. Then this line right here is what we call the baseline. And that's the line where all of our letters sit so that they're straight when we write. Then we have this line in the center, and it's called the X height. And the X height indicates where things happen that go on in the center of a printed letter, which I'll show you in just a second. So sometimes we write on paper that's lined. Sometimes we don't have these lines visible, but they're always in our subconscious. Whether or not we can see them, we're thinking about them. So what happens is, if we were to write a capital A, it starts and ends on the baseline, it goes up to the cap height, and the X height is where we cross. If we were to write a B, once again, we start and end at the cap height and baseline. And then that X height is our guide for where the one hump stops and the other one begins. And the same thing happens for all the letters that have things going on somewhere in the middle, things like E and F, things like G. That X height is our guide for where to start and stop or where to put a crossbar. Does that kind of make sense? So now that we understand that, we get to do something really fun, which is break the rules because we're artists. So now that we know the rules, we're going to purposefully change the way that this works. And as we do, we're going to create a really fun and whimsical print font. So what we're going to do is we're going to say, we know that the X height usually comes right in the center of the cap height and the baseline, but what if we moved it much higher and put it really close to the cap height? Now look what happens when I write my capital letters. All of a sudden, those fun things that happen inside of letters, and I'm going to skip to letters that actually have some of those things going on. Look how that changes my alphabet. Same thing with the G, look at that. And now we move on to our H. We have our J. All kinds of really fun things are going to happen when we raise this X height. And if any of you guys go to Home Goods all the time, like I do, I was just there today. And if you happen to be a collector of pottery, especially, you might be familiar with somebody named Ray Dunn, who makes these pottery mugs. They're just plain white with black writing on them most of the time. She built her whole empire on doing just this, raising that X height, and it changes the way that our letters look. It gives us a really fun capital font. So if I write my name, all of a sudden it looks really artistic and fun and whimsical, instead of just like, oh, look, I printed my name, right? So what we want to do is give this a try. So if you have some scrap paper near you, I want you just to try to write your name, or another good word to try is the word happy. We can do our H, A, and P is really fun because we get these big loops up at the top. And look how fun that's going to be. It gives us a totally different effect. I do this with all capital letters because it pairs nicely with my lowercase brush script if you want to use two fonts at once. But it also makes it easy to read and easy to figure out how you want to do this. So as you're practicing, let's see, I've got questions about letters like V, N, and S. So when you have letters where it comes all the way down to the baseline, like the N, it's just going to look like this. Your S, I would start it there at the X height and bring it up pretty close to that. V is going to be the same. Letters like D, Things that don't really have stuff going on in the middle, like your O, they're going to be exactly the same. Nothing's going to change. But our letters that have crossbars especially are going to be the ones that have different things happening. If you have any other letter questions, you can pop them in the chat and I can see those. But we just want to try writing a word that way. And then the other thing that we can do, which is almost the same, but going to give you a different view. Oh, we got a question about W and Y. So W is going to come all the way up in the middle, and Y is going to be like that. Or if you do your Y with like the V at the top, either way, it's going to be like that with the little part at the top and a big long stem. So the other thing that we can do is we can take the X height and we can bring it down to where the baseline sits. And all of a sudden, that's going to completely change our letters again, because watch what happens. Now, instead of having these little tiny things at the top, our letters are going to be almost top heavy looking, which is really fun, I think. It's just going to give us a totally different effect. And we're still just changing the one thing. We're changing the X height, nothing else. But it's going to completely affect the way that our letters look. So this is another thing that you can play around with. And I'm going to write my word happy here. And now all of a sudden, look at those big loops on the P's. And once again, I have what looks like a completely new font. And all I've done is printed letters, but I've dropped that X height in my mind. So on my website, amylattacreations.com, you will find across the top, there's a bunch of different things that you can click on, different categories. One of the menus has free practice pages that you can click on, and one of them says hand lettering tutorials. And I do have, it's called Ray Dunn Inspired Alphabet. You can click on it and you can see stepped out, and you can see the alphabet here if you want more practice with this. Today, we are going to need to move on a little bit more quickly so that we can get to making our stickers. But I wanted to show you how you can use this. And Michelle actually just linked everybody to the free practice pages. And it has practice pages of all kinds of lettering as well. So you can find that in the chat. But this is just two really quick and easy ways by doing the same basic thing, raising or lowering the X height. We can get a completely new and fun capital alphabet. So how are we going to put that to use and make some stickers? Go ahead and grab your adhesive sticker paper, and we're going to make a few of these using our fun print font. So the first thing that I'm going to do to make my sticker is I am going to draw myself a little straight guideline, and I'm going to use my big chunky eraser here to do that. And you can do this anywhere on your sticker paper that you like, but I'm just going to pencil in a guideline. This is going to be my baseline so that my letters are straight. If you want to draw the other guidelines in as well, you certainly can, because we're going to go back with our eraser and take care of those later. So you can draw as many or as few guidelines as you want right now. Then what I'm going to do is choose a color of Tombow Dual Brush Pen, and I'm going to write a subject. So I'm going to start with math. So I'm just going to use my fun new print, and I'm going to lower my X height this time. And I'm going to write the word math in this style of printing. And that's all there is to it. Then once my marker is dry, I'm going to go back and I'm going to erase my guideline. And we can call that finished if you like, or we can put a few little accents or embellishments. So what I'm going to do is I am going to take my purple, and this is really fun. This is a fun little thing that the Tombow Dual Brush Pens can do that not everybody knows about. If you use the brush end, which is the end under the colorful cap, you can press that down on your paper and it makes a fun little teardrop shape like this. So all you're doing is you're pressing it all the way down on the paper so that the whole brush tip is contacting the paper, and you get these cute little raindrop or petal shapes. So I'm going to take my marker and I'm going to create 3 of those little petal shapes on each side of my word. And don't worry if they're not perfectly symmetrical. The fun about these stickers is that they're handmade, so they're not expected to look perfect. If you don't have sticker paper, you can practice on regular paper and get the ideas down here, and then you can get yourself some sticker paper, or you can always do it on plain paper and then get some clear packing tape, and you can use that over top and tape it onto your notebook or whatever you'd like to use, or get some double stick tape and put it on the back. Lots of different things we can do. So right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and I'm going to cut right around the edges, and I'm going to create my sticker that way. You can cut as close to your designs as you like, and then I'm going to have my fun little sticker. Now, some folks prefer, because I liked cutting right around my designs and making these shaped stickers. But if you prefer a more geometric one and you have a paper cutter, you could just cut out a perfect rectangle around this as well and have a rectangle sticker. It's totally up to you how you'd like to do that. And that's the fun part. And yes, Tombow is famous for their adhesive. So for that sticky effect, you can get the Tombow adhesive runners, and you can just put some of their permanent adhesive on the back. Actually, I have some right up here, like so. So you can get this happy little guy. And if you just have regular paper and you've got a notebook, just put some of this on the back and stick it right on whatever you have. And voila, you've got back to school stickers. So this is how we're going to do it using our whimsical capital print. And you could write, again, anything you want: teacher's name, child's name, subject, literally anything, and create a sticker that way. So does anybody have any questions on how to do this first type? Please show, oh, the teardrops, it's not working for you. Linda, come into the rescue. So we've got our dual brush pen here. It has to be the dual brush pen with the brush tip. Another kind of tip is not going to work. So make sure that this is the same kind of marker that I'm using. It can be the Tombow Dual Brush Pen or the Tombow ABT Pro, but it has that brush tip. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay my marker down, and notice how I'm holding it. It's not a 90-degree angle. It's not even really 45. I'm kind of laying it down, and then I'm just kind of pressing toward the center and picking it straight up, and it's going to make that shape for me. So is that working a little better for you, Linda? I hope so. And thank you, Melanie. I'm glad that you are enjoying the class. So the next thing that I want to do is I want to show you my favorite kind of hand lettering. This is what we call brush script. And brush script can be achieved using the brush end of your pen by controlling the pressure that you're applying. And if you know how to do this and want to do this for your stickers, by all means, do it. We do not have time today to master this skill along with everything else that we're doing. Although you can find instructions on my website as well as in my books like Hand Lettering for Relaxation and my other workbooks. But in the meantime, we're going to do something that's called faux calligraphy, and it's going to give us this look without mastering the technique. So to do this, we're going to actually use the other end of the dual brush pen again. We're using the bullet tip. So any of Tombow's bullet tip markers will work for this. You can use the mono drawing pen, anything with a bullet tip. So I see a question there. Is it necessary to use the dual brush pens only? Not at all. If you have the other, like if you have Tombow twin tones, you can use those. If you have the mono drawing pens, you can use those. We're just doing something with a bullet tip right now. What we need the dual brush pen for is to get that cool little teardrop effect. You won't be able to do that without the brush. So to do faux calligraphy, you'll notice that this brush script look, the thing that sets it aside from other styles of writing is that we have a contrast between thick parts and thinner parts within every single letter. See, we have thick and thin, thick and thin. And so we need to find a way to do that using our regular handwriting. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to write a word. So we're going to come back to our school topic here, and we're going to write the word math again. So I'm going to write it in cursive. And now what we have to do is we have to figure out where are the thick parts and where are the thin parts. So a quick note, and this is going to be for any time that you want this brush script look. Anytime that our pen is moving on a piece of paper, whatever we're writing or doing, it's moving in one of three basic directions. It's either moving up away from us on the paper, which is called an upstroke. It's moving down toward us on the paper. Anybody have a guess what that's going to be called? It is a downstroke. Or it's going to be moving across the paper, which is a horizontal stroke. So the rule that we want to keep in mind is that downstrokes are thick. Everything else is going to remain thin. So we have to go back into our word and figure out where are our downstrokes and then make them thicker than everything else. So if we come to this word math, when I started my M, my pen was moving down. Does that make sense? That means it's a downstroke. And so I'm going to draw a second line next to my first one and color it in. And that's going to make this stroke look thicker than the others. Notice the difference? And you can make it as much thicker as you want it to be. The contrast is up to you. Then my pen moved up. So I'm going to leave that part alone. But when I get here to the top of the first hump, I'm moving down again. So that downstroke gets another line and it gets colored in. And we're going to continue through our word doing the same thing until we get to the end. So we have an upstroke, then here's another downstroke on the second part of the M. For the A, this left side, our pen was moving down. So we're going to color that in. We were moving up here at the bottom, so we're going to leave it alone. Then the stem of the A is another downstroke. Here, as we started the T, we went up, so we're going to leave it skinny. Then this big long line is going to be a downstroke because our pen moved down toward us. The crossbar is horizontal, so we leave it alone. Then here on the H, we're going up. And then here we're coming down. So this is a downstroke we're going to thicken. Going up, going down, going up. So we're going back into that word, finding our spots where we have downstrokes, and we're drawing that second line and coloring it in. If you typically have handwriting that is kind of smushed together, so for example, if I typically write my name like this, I don't have a whole lot of space to come in here and do my downstrokes before I'm running into my other letters. That's not good. So if this is you, you want to leave a little bit of extra space in between your letters so that you have room to come in here and do your downstrokes without running into the rest of your word. If you're someone who typically writes with some space in between your letters, you shouldn't have any problem at all. So depending on your normal handwriting, you may or may not need to make a little bit of an adjustment. So as you're practicing, you'll figure that out pretty fast. You'll decide whether or not you want to make your letters closer together or spaced a little further apart. Now that we've done the word math, let's try science. So when I write my S, I actually make it a little bit more like a print S for legibility reasons, but if you're someone who writes your S this way, you can totally do it that way. So you can write it any way you like, but you're going to come in, you're going to find your downstrokes, and then you're just going to draw a second line and you're going to color it in to make it thicker than the rest of the word. If you have this type of S, it's going to be that right-hand side that's your downstroke. So I'm going to continue doing my downstrokes here for science. Another question that I frequently get when it comes to where we're putting this second line, folks will often ask, do I put it to the right or to the left, outside or inside of what I did the first time? And the question, or the answer to that is, there's no real answer. There's no hard and fast rule for whether it goes on one side or another. It depends on the spacing of your word. The goal is that we want it to look balanced. So for example, here on this bottom science, because I have my downstroke taking up a good bit of space here, if I were to do the C on the outside to the left, they're going to run together. I don't really have room to do that. So I'm going to come to the right instead, and I'm going to do it on the inside of the letter. Same thing here with the I, but then when I get to the E, I do have a little bit of space. So here I'm going to do it on the outside because that's going to give me a little better visual balance. So we're just going to look at our word and figure out what makes sense, the outside or the inside, in order to make our word look like it's properly spaced. So no real right or wrong there. We're just going to play around with the word until it looks the way that we want it to look. And Michelle just put something in the comment that I love her for. She said, practice makes progress. And that is absolutely my catchphrase. In fact, it's the title of my book that's coming out this December. I did a creative journal that's called Practice Makes Progress because it's literally what I say to everyone all the time on my website, in my videos, in my books, because the more you do it, the more that you're going to learn. And it actually becomes part of your muscle memory, just like riding a bike or driving a car or anything else that you do. It's going to get in your muscle memory and become something that your hands know how to do. So now what we're going to do is we're going to practice making some stickers using this faux calligraphy. I do have a YouTube channel. Someone just asked that. It's Amy Latta Creations. You can find me on all social media as Amy Latta Creations, except Twitter. I'm Amy L Creations there because the other was too long. But yes, I have a YouTube channel. And on that YouTube channel, I have a beginner hand lettering workshop that's 30 minutes long that you can tune into as well. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do history for my sticker on here. And I'm just going to write my word. And I'm going to come in and I'm going to find those downstrokes. This is on my sticker paper this time. But if you want to practice more just on your regular paper first, you feel free. Practice as much as you want. Practice makes progress. Get it the way you like it. And then when you're ready, you can move to the sticker paper. So in those free practice pages, Michelle gave you the link for, I have pages for every letter of the alphabet. And I also have pages that show you what the entire alphabet looks like, just to help you figure out where the downstrokes are, because that's the trickiest thing, is figuring out where do I want thick versus where do I want thin. So we're just looking back at the word, figuring out where did I move my pen down versus where was it moving up or across. And we're making a double line and coloring that in. And then I just put some more of my little teardrop embellishments. And I'm going to cut out my sticker. And we can do this for any subject. We can do this for any name, any word that you want to write. We can do it using this faux calligraphy. So I want to give you a chance to practice that a little more. So we're going to make a couple more of these. I'm going to do, let's see, I think this time I'm just going to write, I'm going to do 9th grade because both of my boys are actually going into 9th grade, which makes me feel inexcusably old. So I'm just going to pretend that that's not happening. But I'm going to do just a big 9 and a little TH with my print here. And then I'm going to use my faux calligraphy to do grade. And you can do this for whatever grade your kiddos or the kiddos in your life might be. So again, I'm going to look for everywhere that my pen was moving down. I'm going to draw a double line and then I'm going to fill it in. And this faux calligraphy is going to give me the look of brush script without having to master that technique, which is pretty awesome. So we're just going to continue to do that with any words that you like. You can do something that's unique to your kids or to yourself or whoever you're making these stickers for. It doesn't have to be the same as mine. And I'm just going to accent with a few little lines here this time. And then I'm going to cut it out and I'm going to have a sticker. So faux calligraphy, this skill that we're practicing right now to give us our basic lettering, is something that you can do with just about any kind of marker or pen out there, which is really nice because that means you can also do it off of paper on all kinds of surfaces, like whether you're doing chalk art and you want to do this with chalk, or if all you have is one of Tombow's mechanical pencils, you can do it in your notebook with a mechanical pencil. Anything that you have, you can use this if you're using paint markers to make wooden wall signs, whatever it is that you're doing, you can use this faux calligraphy technique. We're just finding the downstrokes, drawing a second line, and then coloring them in. And as we're practicing that, I want to show you a couple of other fun effects that you can do with your markers and your colors as you're doing it. So I'm going to grab a light purple marker and I am going to write, let's see, what did I not do yet? Let's see. I'm going to do English because I haven't done English yet. And so I'm going to write it. And I'm going to come back and find my downstrokes and color them in. So right now I'm drawing my second lines. And you'll notice I do, if I have an I always do make my dot a little bigger. And I apologize that this is a little bit hard to see because it's light, but it needs to be so that we can do the really fun effect that you're going to see in a minute. Another thing that I want to mention is that if you write your word big enough, you can actually use the brush end of the Tombow Dual Brush Pen to color in between your lines, which is really nice. So I'm coming back and I'm coloring in. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a darker purple marker and have some fun. So I'm going to come in with my, this is, I guess it's more magenta than it is purple. This is my favorite of the 108 colors that the Tombows come in. It's the 665. And I'm going to come in with this and I'm going to color in that same space, the space in between my two lines with the magenta, but I'm only going to color the bottom half of that space. So I'm not going to go all the way up to the top. And look how that gives me this really fun two-tone color. And then I'm going to take an even darker purple. This is the 606. And I'm going to do like just the bottom quarter of it. And this is just going to give me an extra fun effect. So instead of having just one color on my word, all of a sudden, I'm going to have three. So you can check that out. And along with your dual brush pens, you get this nifty little guy that is, oh, sorry, I keep making this shake. So you get this nifty little guy, which is called the blender pen, and it is actually clear. And a lot of folks are like, what do I want a clear marker for? Well, friends, this is what you want it for. You're going to take it and you're going to run it over this. And what it's going to do is it's going to pull those colors into each other. And it's going to give you this little blended ombre effect. So instead of just being really sharp from one color into the next, it's going to blend those colors into each other. And it's just going to be so pretty. So I love the way that this turns out. So you can use your blender pen to just pull those colors up. And it's just going to give you this gorgeous multicolored look on your sticker. And then to clean your brush pen, all you do is you take your scrap paper. I wouldn't do this on your sticker paper. You want to save that. So I want to take a scrap paper and I'm just going to run it until it's clean and clear again. Even if it looks like there's still some purple, if when you write the ink is clear, your blender pen is ready to use again. So it's self-cleaning and now it's good to go. And I just think it's so much fun using the different markers to create this blended look. So we can do that and then we can cut out English and we have a sticker there as well. And you'll notice on my history that another thing you can do is you can trace around the things that you did. So like if we go back to our 9th grade sticker, I can take a Tombow mono drawing pen. These are just really fine tipped, thin little black markers. I can go back and I can trace around my 9, and that's going to help it to pop off the page as well. And you can do that with your letters, with numbers, with anything that you have. You can even add like a little shadow effect if you want. And it's just going to help them to pop off the page and give them a little bit of 3D look. So that is another fun thing that we can do using our mono drawing pens. So what do we think so far, guys? Show me in the chat a thumbs up or a happy face or a heart if you're having fun. If you're not having fun, you can give me a sad face and then I'll try to stand on my head or do a cartwheel or something to make you feel better. But I would love to just get a little gauge that we're okay, good. We're having fun. I'm seeing happy faces. Good, 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 good. So if anybody has a question about anything we've done so far, you can drop it there. I am glad that I'm making it look easy because it is easy. All you have to do is practice. So the more you do it, the more it's going to come naturally to you. I promise. I know that it can be overwhelming at first and it may be not looking exactly the way that you want it to, but it's going to be the more you do it, the better it's going to be, and you're going to absolutely love what you're able to create. All right, so I want to talk a little bit about some embellishments and doodles that we can use to make our stickers as well. So I want you to grab a piece of scrap paper and we're going to practice doing some school themed doodles that we can use along with our stickers. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take pencil and we're going to draw a pencil. So to do this, if you are someone who likes your things to be straight and neat and perfect, you can use a straight edge to draw your 2 lines. I am not that person, so I'm going to be freehanding mine, but it's totally up to you. But we're just going to draw 2 parallel lines. And this is going to be our pencil body. So you want them to be however big you want your pencil to be, that's how far apart you want to place them. Somebody's asking what kind of paper. So right now I'm just using regular printer paper to sketch on, to draw and practice. If you have a sketchbook, medium weight sketch paper is fine. For the stickers, I'm using an adhesive sticker paper. Mine is Silhouette brand. I think Cricut makes some too. But you can also use regular sketch paper and Tombow adhesive. So this is adhesive. You can pull the backing off, but if you don't have that, just use Tombow adhesive and then you can stick it right on your notebook or folder as well. So whatever kind of paper you have, Carol, you can use for this. So we're sketching our pencil here on scrap paper. So we've got our 2 parallel lines, and then we're going to do on one side, we're going to draw a sideways V, and this is going to give our pencil its point. And then, you know, the little sharpener marks that you get on a pencil like this, the little zigzags. So we're just going to do that here. We're going to do a little zigzag pattern. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect. You know, pencils never are. And we're going to have a little dark area for our point. Then we're going to come on the other end and we're going to close it off. Then we're going to draw kind of a rounded little rectangle. That's going to be our eraser. And then I'm just going to put a couple of little lines here. They're almost like parentheses, just these little curving lines. And that's going to be, my drawing pencil doesn't have it, but you know, like a regular school pencil has that little metal crimp there. And that's going to give us our pencil. So then we're going to take a mono drawing pen, which is our nice fine black pen, and we're going to trace over our pencil illustration. And again, it doesn't have to go perfectly over what you drew before. Our sketch was just kind of a guide so that we knew what we were doing. And we're going to come and trace and draw until we have our whole pencil traced. And then it's time for my best friend in lettering, which is the Tombow Mono Eraser. I have the big boy, but you can also get them even in a mini size. They come in all different sizes. But this guy, the plastic mono eraser, is my go-to. I always have them with me because they can erase anything, anywhere. So I'm going to get rid of my pencil lines. And now I just have my marker sketch. And then I'm going to go in with Tombow Dual Brush Pens and color. And if you want to actually make this into a sticker, you can do this on your sticker paper now that we've practiced, because right now we're just using the sketch paper, but I'm going to go ahead and color it in here since I drew it. And you can use whatever colors you have, whatever colors you want, and color in your happy little pencil. So that is one school related sketch that is easy for us to create. I think I have a gray here somewhere. Here we go. And then when you do this on your sticker paper, you can cut out right around it and you'll have your shaped pencil. Michelle just put a link in the chat if anybody's interested in grabbing yourself an eraser. She just put a link to the erasers there. Another one of them that I love is the sand eraser because it can erase even like marker and colored pencil. I actually just had a segment on Homework Home and Family today where I was lettering on shoes, and you can erase pencil off of the shoes with the sand eraser. It's really great. I had it with me on air. So the erasers are definitely something, if you get into lettering and you want to do a lot of this, get the big boy and have it with you all the time. All right, so that is our happy pencil. And I also want to show you how to do a book, because that's something else we think of at school is books. So the first book that we're going to do is an open book, and that is what I have here. So to do this guy, I'm going to go ahead and just draw it with my mono drawing pen, but if you want to sketch it in pencil and then trace over it, that's totally fine too. But we're going to start with a vertical line. And this is going to be the center of your book. So the part where, you know, it's laying open, this is the center line. Then on either side, I'm just going to draw a slightly waving line. So it's going to go up and then down, up and then down. And then at the bottom of my center line, I'm going to do a waving line that takes the same shape as the one at the top. So you should have something that looks like a kind of funky capital I. Then we're going to do vertical lines to connect on the sides. And then I like to come down here to the bottom and draw just a little bit of a book cover, like so. Then you can actually write words. If you have a favorite quote or something that you'd like to write in here, that could actually be really fun, something motivational. Or if not, you can do some little squiggles and dots and lines just to give it the effect that there's words here, text on the page. So totally up to you. You can actually write, or you can just scribble and squiggle. Very technical. And then you can take any color of Tombow Dual Brush Pen that you like, and you can come in here and just color in that little bit of book cover that you can see. And then we would cut around that, and then you have your book sticker. There is a reminder that Kelly put in the chat here that this class is being recorded and it's going to be uploaded to the Michael's YouTube channel in about 24 hours. So if there's anything that you want to go back and rewatch, or if you want to share this with a friend or watch it and do it with your kids, you can go back to the YouTube channel tomorrow, hopefully, and you can do that. All right, now let's tackle a closed book. So this time we're going to do a rectangle. And it's just going to be taller than it is wide. And this is going to be the front of our book. Then I'm going to, oh, Michelle, they want to link to the Tombow drawing pen, to the mono drawing pens. And I'm actually going to switch to a slightly bigger one. These come in different numbered sizes, 0, 1, 0, 2, 0, 3, 4, 5. And so the higher the number, the thicker the nib of the pen is. So the thicker, darker line it's going to make. And there is the link in the chat from Michelle. So you can grab that. So now we want our book to have a little bit of dimension. So I'm going to come to the corners on the left side. And I'm going to make 2 short little diagonal lines. And then I'm going to connect them with the vertical line. And that's going to be the spine of my book. So if you remember like doodling in your notebook and like making those boxes and things, this is kind of what we're doing. So we're just doing 2 little diagonal lines up to the left. And then we're making a line down this side. Then we're going to go up here and we're going to make a horizontal line from the top corner of that diagonal one. And then I like to do kind of a little curving line here. And then I'm going to make a bunch of little horizontal lines to show that my book has a lot of pages. And then here on the cover, you can give it an actual title if you want. One of my favorites would be Romeo and Juliet. So I'm going to do Romeo and Juliet on the cover here. But you can do any book title, or you could put a name or anything you want, and then take your favorite Tombow Dual Brush Pen and you can color in the cover. Whoops, hopefully better than I did. And you can do different colors if you like, for the spine and for the front of the book, however you want to color it in, because this is your project. So you can just add your color. And what I really like about drawing with these mono drawing pens is that you can see when I color, even though I just wrote that, when I colored over it, you can see that it didn't smear. That mono drawing pen stayed nice and clear and you can see what I wrote. If you draw with the Tombow, you use the black dual brush pen, that will smear if you try to color it with another color, because they're all water-based and they're made to do that, to blend with water. And you can actually even use them like watercolor paints if you have an aqua pen, which is a class for another day. Hint, hint, Michelle, we want a watercolor class with the Tombow dual brush pens, because my gosh, guys, it's like my favorite thing to do. But in the meantime, since we're not doing that today, we want to draw with the mono drawing pen so that when we color over it, then it's not going to blur our lines. We're not going to get any of that bleed. Okay, so the other illustration that I wanted to show you is the apple, because of course that's our quintessential school symbol, is the apple, right? Apple for the teacher. And so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to draw a shape that's a lot like a C on the left. And that's going to be the left side of our apple. Then we're going to come over here and we're going to draw a shape that's almost exactly like it on the right side. But what we're going to do is overlap it with the C that we drew first. So we're going to start a little bit behind it and we're going to end a little bit underneath it. And that's going to give us the shape of an apple. Then up at the top, I'm going to draw a little triangle for the stem. I'm going to give it a little leaf. And then I like to do a little triangle over here to be like a highlight for my apple. And then you can color that in, you can cut out around it, and then you have your apple sticker. Another fun thing that I like to do is a stack of books with an apple on top. And to do that, like this is probably the easiest one of all of them. All I do is I draw a stack of rectangles and I just have them get a little bit larger as I go to the bottom. And that's going to be my little stack of books. And then I'm going to follow the same steps, my C and my second C, to create a little apple on the top. And this gets fun because you can label the books any way that you like. And I think I have, maybe I don't. Yes, I do. I have a sample. So this is what that looks like. I just did math, science, and history and put my little apple on the top. But again, you could use anything that you want to label that. And so this is our happy little book stack. So that's just kind of a really fast overview. I can't believe we're almost out of time. That's crazy. But I wanted to give you a really quick overview of how you could create some of your own personal stickers. So we've got our fun print, which we used to do math here, where we dropped the X height, or you could raise it. We had our faux calligraphy, where we're going to write our word. We're going to find the downstrokes, and every downstroke becomes thicker than the rest. We also looked at how we can add multiple colors to that, how we can use the blender pen to blend those colors. And we didn't talk so much about it, but you can actually combine those things into one sticker, like I did here with Mrs. Jones. So I used my print font for Mrs., and then I used my faux calligraphy for Jones. So you can, these fonts pair together really nicely. So if you're writing something a little bit longer, you can put some of it in your brush script and then some of it in your print. We also talked about using numbers like we did with 4th and 9th. So you can do numbers like that. And then you can also trace around your words and your illustrations to help them pop off the page. Then finally, we did a couple of really fun little doodles. We've got our pencil, we've got our open book, our closed book, and we have our apple and our apple book stack. And those are all just kind of basic school symbols. I also did for science, I did the, I guess it's an atom, I think. I'm an artist, I'm not a scientist. And so, you know, doing that is super easy. All you do is you just do an oval with another oval and another oval and a dot in the center, and you've got yourself something very scientific looking. And another fun thing to do is to play around with symbols for the other subjects. You can do a ruler, a protractor. You can even do, like I wrote a little equation here for math. So all kinds of things. You can do your school name, you can do teacher's name, you can do, like I said, you can come at this from a teacher standpoint and do stickers that you're going to put on kids' work. So lots and lots of options that you can do to personalize your stickers. And you can create as many of these as your imagination wants you to create. So all you need are, you know, I would recommend sketching things out, especially your doodles and stuff, with a pencil, tracing with that mono drawing pen, and then coloring with your brush pens. And then you're just going to trim around them. So those who may have missed it before, we were using adhesive sticker paper today that I got at my local Michael's in the cutting machine department. And so when I go to stick this on, it actually has a back that peels off. And then I have an adhesive sticker. So this is going to stick like right onto a folder or a notebook. But the other option that you have, if you don't have this adhesive sticker paper, is that you can create it on any kind of nice sketch paper that you have, and then use Tombow adhesives to stick it directly onto your notebook, your binder, anything that you like. So I am thrilled that you guys joined in today. I see Jenny is also going into 9th grade. Good luck, friend. You are going to love it. I keep telling my boys high school is so much better than middle school. You are going to love it. And for the first time you get to take classes you actually want to take. So that was my favorite thing about high school. But In closing, I just want to let you all know about my website, which is amylattacreations.com. I have also the YouTube channel, which is linked in the chat, and the beginner lettering workshop there. I have all kinds of, if you go to my website, across the top, you'll find free practice pages. You'll find hand lettering tutorials, lettering projects, as well as other DIY and craft type projects that you can do, follow along with. Today's post is all about those shoes that I was telling you about on Home and Family. So that was really fun. You can follow along how to do those. So I hope that you find lots of creative inspiration there. And I do have, let me grab it here and show you. This is my first book, Hand Lettering for Relaxation. If you enjoyed today, I would highly, highly recommend that you pick up a copy of this book. It has the faux calligraphy in it. It has other different fonts that you can do, and it has lots of embellishments and doodles, things like what we were doing today. And it shows you just, it walks you through more than 40 different prompts where it will show you a design like this that you're going to create. It'll show you how to do it. And then there's these really fun pages at the end of the chapter where you can color in the border that I drew and then create your design inside of it. So they're very interactive workbooks. I have this as the first one, and then I have 5 other books. So you'll never run out of books from me to do, and I'm still creating them. So keep your eyes open for new books coming, one coming in December. But I would highly recommend grabbing this. You can, I wish Michael's carried it. Everybody leave a comment and say, please Michael's carry Amy's books because they're wonderful and we love them and they're inspiring and you need to have them. But I would be so happy if Michael's carried them. But in the meantime, you can get them at Amazon. You can get them at your local bookstore, Barnes and Noble Books, A Million Book Depository, et cetera, et cetera. And you can learn all about them on my website. So check that out. Check out the website, amylattacreations.com. And tell Michaels that you had fun and that you want to learn that watercoloring with the Tombow markers so that we can play together again. I would love to play again with you soon. So I appreciate you guys all joining in. Tell your friends to check out the YouTube channel for Michaels. Again, this is going to has been recorded and is going to be live in about 24 to 48 hours on Michael's YouTube. So go watch it again, create again with the kiddos in your life, make these stickers, and please, please, please tag us. Michael's Tombow and I are all equally excited, I say, but I'm the most excited, to see the things that you create. It makes me so happy when I see that you are actually doing this and putting your skills to work. And Michaels and Tombow get really jazzed about it too, because you're using their products and we're all working together to create more art and more beauty in the world. So if you are creating stickers, which I see in the chat that some of you are, please, please, please take pictures and share them. You can email them to me, amylattacreations@gmail.com, but even better, share them on social media because we're all there. So you can tag me at amylattacreations, and don't forget to tag Michael's Stores and Tombow USA. And that way we can all see, we can all share, we can all be inspired. So please show us your work because it just makes us really ridiculously happy to see what you're creating. So thank you guys so much for joining in with us today. I hope that you had a fraction of the fun that I had sharing this with you. And I cannot wait to see the stickers that you're going to create and use. So take care, guys. It has truly been a pleasure to teach you tonight. I hope you have a wonderful evening, and I hope to see you somewhere on the internet sometime soon. Remember, at Amy Latta Creations so that I can see your wonderful content. You are very welcome, guys. Thank you for joining in, and you guys are the stars. You are the ones who are going to create, go forth and make beautiful things. And I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.